We played the Switch 2 and its Joy-Cons are going to shock you.
Oh!
I'm going to have to criticise Nintendo. They've not done enough to showcase how good these things are ahead of launch.
Yeah, they've just kind of said, here you go.
Here's all the stuff.
Moved on to other stuff like, look at the camera and stuff, you know.
I kind of wish that they did the announcement and then in the days afterwards did like mini directs on like...
each bit.
Here's the Joy-Con 2s.
That's why we're here.
Well, we're doing a mini direct for you.
There you
Free
go.
as well. Look at that.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot that they've upgraded in these. The first thing you'll notice straight away is they're a lot bigger.
The size is important.
Very important.
Because they feel so much better.
Yeah.
And in terms of just like the physical thing, what I loved whilst they were attached is that they feel perfect in the palms of your hands.
Yeah.
Because they're now rounded. Instead of having more of like a square like corner, it's a proper arc and it perfectly aligns into your hands, which stops pinky holding.
The pinky grip.
Yeah, which I hate with the original Switch. I always rest on my pinkies. This stopped it because it's much larger, the Joy-Cons are larger, and they just perfectly fit into your hands.
The only question mark I'll have about size and ergonomics is I wonder what it's going to be like for like children's hands, for like really small hands.
Yes.
It might become... They might have gone too far on the big side.
Maybe.
But I'm selfish and I don't care because I've got big hands.
Me too, but this is also Nintendo and they know that a big part of their market is small hands people.
And they've definitely combated that a lot. And it plays into how the mouse mode works. We'll talk about that in a minute. But with how the bumpers are shaped, the bumpers and the triggers, the ZR and ZL buttons.
Yep, ZR, ZL, L and R.
They, rather than just being along the top and maybe a tiny little curve around the edges, they curve fully around.
All the way around the corner.
Like they do like a 90 degree all the way around. The actuation of them is instant on either side, which
everywhere.
I don't understand. There's very, like, no pre-travel.
I couldn't feel a pivot.
No.
So often there's a pivotal point, so that it will feel mushy on one end and there's more travel on another.
Yeah.
But the whole corner seemed, no matter where you like pressed all the way round, seemed to actuate exactly the same.
Zero pre-travel.
There's no pre-travel, no post-travel, just instantaneous click.
And so if you've got smaller hands, you'll be able to actuate those a lot easier without having to be right on top.
You can have your fingers right on the corners and literally just tickle them, and they will press.
Which plays into mouse mode when it's on the side. You can you can use it on top rather than having to hook around.
And whilst we're on those bumpers and triggers, they felt like mechanical switches.
I'm nailed on certain they are.
Yeah,
and now I'm willing to be proven wrong, as I often am on this channel. But they felt like mechanical. There was a part of me that's like, maybe, and we were talking about it, maybe it's when it was on, there was a haptic feedback happening.
I think that's on the face buttons, which we'll get to.
Yeah, but then when we went to use, there's a Switch 2 that was unpowered, that you could take the Joy-Cons off and like play with them. When it was unpowered, I was pressing the bumps and triggers and they were still clicking.
Yeah.
So either it's a really tight membrane with like a clicking actuation, or it's mechanical.
Yeah, I think...
It felt like mechanical.
I think, especially because there's now mouse mode and mice use micro switches.
Yes.
I think there's micro switches in L and ZL, like the bumpers and the triggers.
Yeah.
But I do think the face buttons are membrane. But it would make sense for the bumpers and triggers to be mechanical. Now we have mouse mode.
Yeah, that makes loads of sense.
For them to instantaneous like actuate without much pressure at all.
And that would be longer lifespan of clicking as well.
Exactly, because in mouse mode you're going to be clicking them probably more often because it's going to be aimed at FPS games. You know, rather than like firing from the face button or whatever, you might be pressing it more. You
get that multiple million click lifespan now.
Yeah.
The face buttons feel amazing.
Really good.
Has to be said.
No pre or post travel.
No, really tight. There's some kind of haptic feedback happening.
It wasn't Mario Kart. I wasn't paying attention when I was playing Zelda, but when we were playing Mario Kart handheld, it definitely felt like there was a HD Rumble 2 response.
Yes.
So when you pressed the face buttons, as it pressed in, you almost got like a Steam Deck touchpad sensation.
Absolutely
that haptic feel. And you noticed it and said to me.
Yeah, these mechanical.
Yeah, and I was like, actually, I think it's a haptic. And I really hope that's the case with everything. When it was off, you didn't get that haptic feel. So it would like
stands to reason.
Yeah, stands to reason that it would be the HD Rumble 2 sort of accounting for that.
Joysticks have been a big improvement. They're much bigger. Better. They're much bigger. The travel on them's loads nicer.
They're still not where I'd want them.
No, they're not perfect.
They're not perfect.
And I tell you what's frustrating, and we're going to do a whole video about this, the Pro Controller, the Pro Controller 2, I guess, is, and I'm going to let you into a secret, it's the single best controller I've ever felt. And we do controllers like, that's our bread and butter. I'm going to say it, it's the best controller I've ever felt.
I'm not going to say it. Just maybe you get the hate.
It may not be the best spec'd, but it's the best controller I've felt.
It is the best joysticks I've ever felt.
By a million miles.
The Buttery Smooth award that I give, this is top.
That's cream.
Yeah.
That's all right. Why they've not used exactly the same in the Joy-Cons, I know they're a lot bigger on the Pro Controller, and I know there's reasons, but it's perfect. It's perfection.
I think they have.
It's very similar, but it's not quite.
That just comes down to the size of the module.
Yeah, it could be it.
So because they're so small on the Joy-Con still, they're much larger than the original Joy-Cons.
Still small.
But they're still so much smaller compared to those humongous ones on the Pro Controller.
Yeah.
When I was feeling it without hitting the edges, the feel is very reminiscent of the Pro Controller.
Now, all the talk is they've not used any kind of Hall effect or TMR, and there's maybe reasons for that. Maybe because of how the Joy-Cons magnetize into the Switch and the magnets interfere with each other. Maybe it's just because it's too expensive. But there's kind of, we're rubber banding back to Nintendo did a patent for their own version of the TMR stick module.
Back in like 2018.
Maybe they're using something like that. I don't know what it is. I'd love to see a teardown of it. But how the joysticks move, both in the Joy-Cons and the Pro Controller, is massively improved. Pro Controller itself, I've kind of done a big giveaway now, but it's the best controller I've ever felt.
Yeah.
Back to the Joy-Cons though, hugely improved joysticks, definitely not perfect, but a lot better.
Yeah, much better, much better. The haptic feedback thing, just the rumble.
Rumble's great.
Fantastic. Like HD rumble, I always loved anyway.
Very underutilized though.
Underutilized and very subtle in some cases.
Yeah.
This, whatever it was that I played, I think it was Mario Kart. The second that I bumped into something, I was like, "Whoa, what was that?" Because that HD rumble is real
It had
intense.
directional kind of feel to it as well. They're really clever.
Very strong.
In Prime as well.
Yes.
Really good at Metroid Prime 4. The rumble was amazing.
Rumble is very good.
How the joysticks attach and detach is another bit of Nintendo magic.
Oh, the magnets.
Yeah. Removing the rails from the Joy-Cons and just having magnets.
Yes.
I thought they're going to wobble.
Yeah, it's
No,
the first thing you do.
very little wobble. I was trying to do it. Second thing is, you're going to be able to pull it out accidentally.
Oh, no.
We're both quite strong lads. You wouldn't want to be pulling it any harder than I was pulling it.
No.
You're going to break it.
Yeah, I mean,
before it
with
come
the guy standing over us like
Wait,
this.
we did have two security guards next to us. I think they got rumour that I was going to steal on.
Well, and the one we were handling was not tethered.
No.
It was completely loose. And they were watching us kind of messing around with stuff.
Pulling it.
Opening stuff we shouldn't be. So they were very sort of conscious of what we were doing. And I wanted to pull it because I think I could have got it off.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't want to because they were very the eyes are on.
But the switch that they've used for it, that's a good pun, that little button that you push and it pushes it away from the magnets.
Yeah.
Really simple little lever. That works
really
perfectly.
works, doesn't it? You can feel like a thunk as you press it, but you don't have to put any force.
No.
You just sort of press it with normal amount of force and it kind of just goes clonk off and then you can pull it away and then reattaching just snaps straight back on.
Straight back. Yeah, really lovely.
Really nice feel.
Oh God, there's so much with the Joy-Cons. I want to say there's been a big improvement as well. Not many people use it, but you can use the two controllers as individual controllers on their own. And then you've got the SL and SR buttons.
Yep.
Massively different.
Massive as
They're
well.
huge now. They might be maybe up to an inch long each now.
They're probably 5 times bigger than they were before.
And they protrude rather than being inside the rails.
Yeah,
because before they had to sit inside the rails.
Yep.
So it made it horrible. Any of you that
They were
played
disgusting.
any like Mario Kart, 4 of you, you've only got one control,
was
whatever.
horrible.
Yeah, it was horrible. Now they stand out and they're metallic. They're the magnets that help attach, so they feel really nice.
Yeah.
That whole thing's massive improvement. And then of course with that you've got the IR sensor, which kind of leads us to mouse mode.
Yeah.
If you want to go there.
Well,
we did a whole video.
I was going to say we've done an entire video, so I implore you to watch that one.
Mouse mode's magic.
Mouse mode is really good. It works very good. We'll just briefly touch it because we have done an entire video about this. So go watch that. But yeah, it works so instantaneously. Moving from mouse mode into Joy-Con mode, very good. We were trying to break it to see okay, where is it going to fall apart here? But it doesn't. It utilizes gyro with the laser being next to something. Simultaneously for it to activate.
Yeah.
And it was really good.
There's only a couple of criticisms that I have really of the Joy-Cons. One is the joysticks could be bigger still, could be a little bit better.
That's my main issue here.
Second is counterintuitively to that, when in mouse mode the joystick gets in the way, so it's too big.
True.
Yeah. And third is something Nintendo would never do. I wish the Joy-Cons had a slight bit of a horn on the back, just a little bit.
Ergonomics.
Ergonomically they're great, but just that tiny tweak that removes the big selling feature that they love to talk about, how thin it is.
Yes.
But I would love to see just a little bit of a handle there.
Yeah, we know, third-party companies are going to be making cases.
And we'll cover as many of them as we can.
So I think that's going to be okay.
Yeah.
For me, like ergonomically, I actually found that I didn't need any sort of heft there, like because they were shaped so nicely, and
the way they sit in your hands, nice,
and that it's so evenly distributed. The weight, because of how large the device is, it just felt nice in my hands.
It's the first time I played a Switch handheld and didn't feel uncomfortable.
Yes, yeah,
that's the biggest compliment I can give to the ergonomics.
It's a big step up from the originals.
Yeah, massive. I can't think of anything else about the Joy-Cons at the top of my head, but I'd love to know if you've thought of anything. Let us know down in the comments, and any questions you've got about Switch 2 in general. Join in the conversation down below. And what else could they do?
Like the video, subscribe, become a member, and you can chat to us over on our private Discord. And have a nice day.
Oh, that's good. Are you going to let me out of your house anytime?
No.
Because I've been here for a long time.
No, you're staying here now.
Forever.
Let us know if you like AJ being in my studio.
I like it.
Yeah. Should we see more of him here in this set?
Yes.
Yes. Let us know.
Bye.
Bye.